Hey everyone, Brian Zane here. I'm reporting to you from on the road, here to give you my picks for SummerSlam 2019 happening this Sunday night. Let's begin with a match that was made official at the very end of Monday Night Raw this past week, as Dolph Ziggler takes on Goldberg in a match. Oh Dilp, poor Dilp. This match, I mentioned who wore it better. I'm not a fan of this one. I think that, they might be building this for later on down the road, but the smart money is on Ziggler Michaels being the match to watch, but they're not doing Dolph any favors here by putting him in what is sure to be a buzzsaw in Bill Goldberg. And except for the fact that, Ziggler has name dropped Goldberg in some promos leading up to this. I don't know why they thought that Goldberg-Ziggler would be a good match. I don't know why they decided to wait till the very last minute to make the match official. If you're going to have a match like this, you might as well build up to have some serious build to it before the match. It seems like kind of a waste of Goldberg, or any legend in that position, to be quite honest. But yeah, I think this one's pretty easy that Goldberg is going to win this one, and it's not going to be a long match like that match with The Undertaker was in Saudi Arabia. This will be kind of his make good match here. Kind of like how Taker was in that tag team match at Extreme Rules. This is how Goldberg makes up for it, with a squash against Ziggler. Speaking of a match featuring a legend, which also could have used more time to build, Charlotte Flair takes on Trish Stratus in singles action. And on paper, this match is far more of a dream match than, say, Goldberg-Ziggler's ever going to be. But I think this one also could have used a lot more build up to it, because right now we just have like two interactions between Charlotte and Trish. It starts with an interruption on the King's Court a couple weeks ago, and then the slap that happens the following week on SmackDown, and before that, Trish shows up in a tag team match and ultimately does absolutely nothing, just kind of almost a waste of her appearance. And kind of the same thing here. I think Trish and Charlotte's going to be a good match. I think ultimately Charlotte's going to win. I just think that this match could have benefited from a lot more build. If you're going to have this, this dream match here, these generational talents who are both great in their field, I think 2 weeks is not enough time to build that. AJ Styles defends the U.S. Championship against Ricochet, the latest chapter of their growing rivalry. I feel that the frequency at which these guys have been wrestling, you run the risk of milking the angle dry and really killing it dead before it has a chance to really mature to something awesome. That being said, that these guys, when they've been fighting in the ring, it's definitely not been like a law of diminishing returns. I feel they've been able to elevate their game each time they've wrestled, and I hope we see more of the same in what I would imagine is a blow-off match at SummerSlam. They've had a nice little rivalry up to this point. Ultimately, I think that the OC members, Gallows and Anderson, will eventually lead to AJ retaining the championship and keeping all the gold on the OC for the time being. Bray Wyatt's Fiend character makes its long-awaited debut this Sunday against Finn Balor as part of a feud that will seemingly never die. The rumor mill says that this is going to be the way they write off Finn Balor before he takes a bit of a break, so it seems to me pretty academic that with a gimmick like this as Bray Wyatt, you got to get it over here. You have to have him beat Finn in decisive fashion, but it seems that they were already writing Finn off based on how he's just been completely non-present, a non-factor in the television build for this match. Drew Gulak defends the Cruiserweight title against Oney Lorcan this Sunday, and I must give you my disclaimer once again that I do not really watch or follow 205 Live, but what I've seen of these guys in the ring just on their own, I can tell you this is going to be a great match on paper, because I love Drew's work doing the submission stuff. Lorcan is a terrific striker and a submission guy as well. I think this is going to be one of the more ground-oriented Cruiserweight matches, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be very exciting. Ultimately, I think Drew is going to retain the championship, but this match is going to be one to watch for sure. Kevin Owens takes on Shane McMahon, with the stipulation being that if Kevin loses, he must quit the company. And there's really one of two ways they can go with this angle. They can either have Kevin lose and then have him just keep showing up to make Shane's life a living hell, completely negating the point of that stipulation in the first place and really watering it down, or Kevin Owens just wins and Shane McMahon just leaves for the time being. I know on SmackDown, Kevin challenged Shane to put his career on the line, and Shane said no. I still think that Kevin's going to win, though, and this might be a way to write Shane off for a little while, because I think, this past, spring especially, we've got really over-inundated with Shane McMahon, best in the world, as the top heel in the company. And it was fun in small doses, but I feel that that character is peaked, and it's time to move on to something else. So I think it's time for Kevin to finally vanquish the beast known as Shane McMahon and move on to something else. Bayley takes on Ember Moon for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and the build for this was that Bayley selected Ember as her challenger. It's kind of a face versus face thing that has quickly quickly morphed into this rivalry where they're trading finishes on each other. So I think this match is going to have some spice to it for sure when they actually wrestle. I think that Bayley is going to retain the belt here. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a really entertaining matchup with Bayley ultimately going over. I think Ember's going to look good in defeat though for sure. Whether this is going to build to, we're definitely seeing more of a harder edge to Bayley than in previous incarnations over the years. So seeing a harder edge to her here. Will this turn to any kind of actual like heel turn? I don't know. I always kind of waffle on it. I keep in the back of my mind, I keep thinking, oh, maybe it'll happen, but like who knows if it really will. And if they do pull the trigger on that, how's it going to actually end up looking? Time will tell, but I do think Bayley is going to retain here. Kofi Kingston takes on Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. This match is more than a decade in the making. They've done a really good job, I think, showing the history between these two and how, it was Orton's backstage influence that kept Kofi from really reaching his potential earlier on in the company. And then Orton is taking credit for Kofi's fairy tale run, having injured Ali. So I think that the build for this one, really, the story writes itself. I think it's a good matchup here. I think it's going to be a great match once they execute. I think that Kofi is going to win. They're doing a really good job making Kofi this like really, really strong babyface champion. He is the strongest babyface champion they've had in a very long time. And it's very refreshing. And I think it's great that Kofi's been able to carry the mantle like that. I think he's going to keep this reign going a little while longer. I don't see Orton winning. I think he needs another championship, like another hole in the head, basically, because he's had so many damn world championships. Another one I think just seems kind of excessive at this point. But that's my pick. I think it's going to be a great match. I think Kofi's going to exercise that demon, beat Randy Orton, and really prove himself in the upper echelon. Over on the Raw side of things, Natalya challenges Becky Lynch for the Women's Championship in a submission match. So Sharpshooter versus Disarmer. Should be a great match here. I think that they've done a really good job building Natalya's Sharpshooter up the last couple of weeks. Like I mentioned on Who Wore It Better, of the two women's title matches, I think Natalya's been built as the bigger, credible threat for Becky's championship here. Really getting the Sharpshooter over, like I mentioned. However, it's been interesting that, we haven't really seen the Disarmer being put over. Now, obviously, Becky Lynch has more exposure as the top woman on Raw, so we've seen her use the Disarmer more often and get over with it. But in this particular matchup, we haven't seen too much of it outside of when Becky beat Natalya with it in that, in the sparring before earlier in the day a week or two ago on Raw. So we're definitely seeing Natalya show more of the Sharpshooter here. I do think Becky is going to pull out a victory here. Maybe not to a Disarmer though. I wouldn't be surprised if they find some other way to make Natalya tap here in her hometown, in her home country of Canada. Oh, the screw job happens again. And finally, Brock Lesnar defends his Universal title against Seth Rollins, who's been coming off like a real sad sack lately. Last couple of weeks, he's been getting the hell beat out of him. And I get they're trying to build this like sympathetic underdog story for Seth, but it's been really excessive. Like we saw that already at WrestleMania, and I feel like we're seeing it in triplicate now for SummerSlam. And there's a part of me that thinks that Seth is going to mount some miraculous comeback and somehow be able to win and regain the championship from Lesnar. But you know what? I've seen this play out a few too many times to ultimately think that way. So my pick is that Lesnar will retain. I don't think Seth as Universal Champion has been the shot in the arm that the company was kind of hoping it would be. I think it's really underperformed, unfortunately. So I don't see him winning the title back here. I don't know who's going to be in line to unseat Lesnar now, but I don't think Seth is going to be it for the time being. Well, those are my picks, folks. Let me know what you think is going to happen this Sunday night in the comment section below, and I will see you on the other side on Monday morning with a SummerSlam review. I'm Brian Zane, and I'll see you next time.